Welcome to another episode of The Inquisitive Analyst. I'm your host, Marcus Udekang. It's the show where we chat about business analysis and project management issues and the challenges and triumphs within those fields. It's inspiring, informative, and very much inquisitive. My guest today is an executive communication coach, a TEDx organizer, and an assistant professor. She's immediate past district director of Toastmasters International for Poland, Finland, Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia, and a member of Poland's first Toastmasters Club based out of Warsaw, Poland. And she is a certified business trainer coach and author of the book, Born Global Entrepreneurs. She is host of the podcast Ideas and Leaders and is founder of Elena Pawęta Consulting. Please help me welcome to today's show, joining us all the way from Warsaw, Poland, Dr. Elena Pawęta. Welcome, Elena.
Hi, Marcus. It's great to be here.
Thank you very much. It's great for you to join us today. I thought I'd start off by asking you a few questions about your public speaking experience. Maybe you can start off by explaining how you got into Toastmasters and maybe how you started working with TEDx.
Well, first of all, I got into Toastmasters and I started this journey, I would say public speaking journey, as I started in academia and I had to lecture, I had to give lectures. I was so stressed that I have to speak in front of people, a group of people in Polish language. And I must say that Polish language is not my first language, as originally I come from Russia. So I had to lecture in the language that I'm not so confident in. And I had to teach them something that I maybe don't really know myself. I had to prepare for every lecture. So I was super stressed, the maximum level of stress. And then I started to explore this topic. How can I get more confidence? And I found Toastmasters in one of the academic blogs. They told about this organization where you can practice public speaking, receive feedback. And immediately I found that in my city, there is a conference in a couple of days. And I did not start with attending a Toastmasters club, but I attended the conference. And after I saw this group of people who are confident, they were such amazing speakers. And I was like, wow, I will never be like that. And I joined the organization immediately. And of course, I must say that everyone who is in Toastmasters for some time, they are like that. So you can actually gain a lot of confidence in there.
Fantastic. Can you give us a short overview of what your experience was like as a Toastmasters district director?
Well, in the last year, and I'm in Toastmasters for about 7 years now, I think I stopped counting. And this was a year when I was a district director. So I was responsible for 5 countries in Europe. And district director is kind of a CEO position. So it is quite challenging in terms of leadership development, because you cannot do anything yourself. You have the team of leaders who have their own teams. So you don't communicate directly with people, but at the same time, you have to lead this group of, in our case, it's 2,000 people in our district. And of course, it is different all over the world, but still it is quite a big amount of people. So for me, I think the most challenging was delegating, was also learning and having deeper insight on how to build relationships with people, because this is one of the most important things in business, in leading, in managing people. So I think that this year gave me a lot of experience in this.
Fantastic. Now you hold a coveted award out of Toastmasters called the DTM, Distinguished Toastmasters Award. And you've been heavily involved in also the Dale Carnegie Institute, which is another well-known public institute, just like Toastmasters. What are some significant differences between Dale Carnegie and Toastmasters?
Yeah, I was certified by Dale Carnegie training as a trainer, business trainer and coach. And I must say that although Toastmasters International is a nonprofit organization, and this is basically for everyone, and it is present in the corporate world, and you have open clubs, you have university clubs, but Dale Carnegie training, it is mostly present in the corporate world. So only they provide corporate trainings, but I can see a lot of similarities, although methodology is different and many ways of doing business in those organizations are different. I can see a lot of similarities because, as I know, Dale Carnegie himself and Ralph Smedley, who started Toastmasters International Organization, they lived in more or less the same time. And as I found somewhere, they actually knew each other. So it is very much possible that they kind of got together maybe for a tea or coffee someday about 100 years ago, and maybe they inspired each other to start those organizations. So I think that the common thing is that both those organizations are targeted at empowering people to reveal the best in themselves, to become more confident, to become better leaders, better presenters.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think confidence is definitely key to public speaking, no doubt. Now, I see that you were a PhD researcher in the city of Łódź, in Łódź, Poland. Now, I've been to Łódź, and I visited Manufaktura, if you know, the famous shopping mall, which used to be an old factory back many years ago. And you've also spent lots of time in St. Petersburg, Russia, as you mentioned, you're from there. So how does Russia compare to Poland in terms of TEDx and Toastmasters and Dale Carnegie?
So Russia actually joined our district this year, so 15 days ago, as the new Toastmasters year started. Russia is a part of District 108, so we have 6 countries now. They have amazing Toastmasters clubs in Moscow, in St. Petersburg. I visited them, and they are very ambitious. They're doing everything according to the manuals, according to the rules. I visited them when they were undistricted a couple of years ago, and I was so surprised that the procedures in their clubs and the way how they do things, the perfection in their speeches and their evaluations is amazing. So I think that that's why Toastmasters International kind of allowed them to become part of the district, although they don't have a lot of clubs. So I think that they have huge potential because they have a lot of big cities, but those organizations are still not so well known there. So I think that there is still a lot of things to do. Although as a TEDx organizer, also I know a lot of TEDx organizers from Moscow and from Novosibirsk. They have really great big events going on there. So I would say that there are some active people that are developing this culture of conferences and public speaking in the country. So I think they still have a lot of space for development.
Fantastic. This is something I didn't know. I was pretty close to actually attending St. Petersburg Toastmasters Club. It never panned out, but it would have been kind of cool to see how they run things. That's awesome. Now, your consulting group, what types of services does Elena Pawęta Consulting provide?
Yeah, so it is mostly communication coaching, and communication coaching for in the corporate environment, and to individual coaching as well. And recently I got a lot of inquiries from people who want to become TEDx speakers. So this is a very big part of what I do right now. So I help people to become TEDx speakers. I even launched the program, the group program, had so many people who wanted to to become a TEDx speaker. And also I'm working with people individually and kind of coaching them because I was organizing TEDx events right now in Poland for 7 years. I organized TEDx Women and TEDx salons, smaller events and bigger events in big theaters and small venues. So I know what is expected from the speaker. It is not enough just to prepare a great speech. As in Toastmasters, for example, you would come and you can speak about anything, what happened in the morning, you can do the speech out of that. But in TEDx, it is very important to have idea worth spreading. They have certain rules. That's why I'm usually working with my clients for about 6 weeks or so. Some people take it longer because they need more time to think and so on. But usually 6 weeks is enough to come up with a great speech and to apply for TEDx event.
That's fantastic. I joined the TEDx here in Calgary, Canada, and just around the time that COVID came out, so they completely canceled it. It was supposed to be obviously in person like it always is. And when instead of going virtual, they just stopped it completely. So
oh, really? It's a pity.
Yeah,
it's a pity because for example, I had also my event last year. We were planning to have it live till the very end. We did not know how it will work out with the restrictions and everything. And finally, we moved online, but we kept everything as it is. So if you go to my Instagram account, you would see some of the pictures from my event. The stage looks the same, the red
Nice.
TED letters, speakers standing on the red dot. So we maintained the same kind of spirit for the speakers who were preparing for half a year for their speeches, and for our participants, virtual participants as well. So they were watching at home, of course, but it looked for them like they are in the theater.
Theater, yeah, fantastic. I think TEDx Calgary has now gone online, but it took them many months to get there. So I think they're going to stick it out online for a while. Now, you have a free ebook called 10 Strategies for Speaking Online with Confidence. I looked at stuff like this. I thought, I've got to get this lady on my show. This is something that really intrigues me. So as a TEDx coach, what are some strategies or steps which are very much needed for, well, anyone, but this show's for business analysts and project managers, so maybe you can speak toward them. So what are some strategies and steps that, say, a business analyst or a project manager could use to become a TEDx speaker?
Well, first of all, what you need to do to become a TEDx speaker, you need to have an idea. It's very important. So I don't recommend reaching out to the organizers. Myself, for example, a lot of people reach out to me because I am on the TED page. Every TEDx event that is registered on the TED page, they have their main organizer on the page. So a lot of people reach out to me via LinkedIn and Facebook and everywhere that is possible. And they say, I want to be a speaker at your event. So my first question is always the same. So what is your idea? And very often in 99% of cases, people say, oh, I don't know, maybe it is this or maybe that. I can speak about that. I have a very interesting life story. So they are they want to speak, but they don't know about what. So what I encourage you to do if you're interested in speaking on TEDx is you can work with a TEDx coach like myself, or there are also a lot of my colleagues, people who also who were TEDx speakers or organizers who actually know what is expected by the platform, to work with them. Or maybe if you know someone who was involved in the organization, speak to them, maybe do your research in the internet and come up with an idea. What do you want to speak about? And only then reach out to the event and ask them if they have a speaking slot for you.
Fantastic. I was going to say, it's something, when I started this YouTube show, a friend of mine said, you should keep it at 20 minutes. I said, why 20 minutes? So, well, TEDx does 18 minutes. So think about it. That's the optimal, but the optimal time. But I thought, well, it's a YouTube show. You don't have to be so tight on time. But it's fascinating to see that the TEDx is so popular. So maybe you can explain a bit about your 6-week online interactive program, which you call Speak with Impact. And that's used to prepare people to become a TEDx speaker. And what type of value can we get from becoming a TEDx speaker?
Yeah, so I have the program that is targeted only for people who want to become TEDx speakers. And in this program, we are focusing on their idea, first of all, because as I said, this is number one. Then we are developing the talk, the structure, introduction, conclusion, how we want to present this idea. We are making the research because it is not enough just to tell a story. In order to give a kind of persuasive speech, which is the TED style speech, you need to work on facts, on evidence, and a lot of things that are maybe not noticeable when you're watching TED Talk on YouTube, but in fact, in order to persuade someone, you need to have a lot of things in there. And besides, we're working on the storytelling, we're working on wow effects and using metaphors, analogies, and different tools to actually attract the attention of listeners. And what also another thing that we are doing in this program, which my clients really appreciate, is that we are also preparing kind of pitch for the event. As I've been an organizer myself for the 7 years now, I know how the good pitch should look like and how it should not look like. So we're preparing the pitch where we are looking for the events together, possible events, and we're sending out the pitch. So this is how it looks like. And in 6 weeks, it is enough to have the basic version of your TED Talk, to have your applications in several events, and maybe even it is possible to get booked if the event is currently looking for speakers.
Now, I'm curious actually about TEDx Poland. Is it in Polish or is it in English? Just out of curiosity.
So we have usually bilingual events. Some events are only in Polish, but in majority of events, we have more or less 50-50.
Okay, fascinating. Now, you say that you help business professionals communicate with clarity and confidence, and you mentioned confidence earlier, so that they can achieve more in business. And now, why is communicating with clarity and confidence so important in business, and particularly for, say, business analysts and project managers?
Yes, I'm working with managers, with corporate managers that have to communicate with their teams, have to be clear, they have to be persuasive. Very often they have to introduce changes or maybe some information that is not really pleasant. And this is where they are kind of getting blocked. We are working on those blocks. First of all, we are working on the individual communication style. So my style of working with my clients is I never want to make someone a perfect speaker or to maybe make a world champion of public speaking out of them. I think that the most important thing is that they find their own speaking style. And this is why we are practicing a lot, we are recording a lot, even in the virtual environment or in the live environment. As recently I was working, I think, much more virtually than live. And we are kind of looking at the patterns that we like about ourselves. And this is what I recommend to everyone, even if you're not working with coach. Record yourself and look, what do you like about yourself? What do you like in your style? Are there some things that you want to improve? Because from my experience, people, they are super critical and they say, I'm awful. I don't want to look at myself. I don't want to watch my recordings. And they kind of not thinking of how to convey the message, but they just saying something very fast and maybe focusing attention on the slides or on the flip charts, but not on themselves. So we are working on making them the main message, on focusing on their communication style, giving them more confidence. And of course, we are presenting different tools on how to present arguments and facts, on how to answer questions, how to negotiate, and so on and so on.
Yeah, I think we are our worst critics, often, they say. Yeah. Now, now many business analysts and project managers are entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs. And can you provide a summary of your book, Born Global Entrepreneurs? And it's about how to handle entrepreneurs. Maybe you can give us a summary of that can help business analysts and PMs who want to become entrepreneurs.
Yeah, so my book is about the entrepreneurs that go global immediately after starting their companies. And in order to write this book, I was interviewing a lot of entrepreneurs all over the world. And it gave me so much insight on how people think and how they act completely differently. So those entrepreneurs, those international entrepreneurs, born global entrepreneurs, they don't see the barriers at all. They don't see the different barriers, different countries or cultures. They don't see it. For them, the whole world is their market, and they are using all the tools that exist on the market. And what I found is that they are great in communication. They are great in networking. For them, this is what they do mostly. So they speak with people. I was interviewing some local entrepreneurs. One of the entrepreneurs I interviewed, he had several businesses at the same time, and he was planning next. During the interview, he found time to speak with me, and then during the interview, he said, "Today I was speaking with Mexico, I was speaking with this, and tomorrow I'm going to speak with this." So he actually named several countries around the world that he's going to connect in 1 or 2 days. So for me, I think that this is the key to success, because there are a lot of economical factors and political factors that help companies to internationalize. But I think that, and this is what my book is about, that the main thing are those soft skills and ability to build connections, to build relationships, and to communicate.
Soft skills and communication. Yeah, this is definitely key for success with any entrepreneurs. Now, you're on a podcast called Ideas and Leaders. I've listened to it. I think I must have listened to 4 or 5 of them all at once one day. It quite intrigued me. So what type of ideas and leaders do you talk about on your podcast show?
So I'm speaking with business leaders, with entrepreneurs, and we're discussing the topics as communication, leadership, business. Very often we're speaking about building your business and different aspects of starting business for entrepreneurs. But also we're speaking a lot about soft skills, about communication, public speaking, how to persuade someone, how to negotiate, and so on. So I think that we have both business and soft skills aspects in Ideas and Leaders podcast.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Elena. It's been fantastic having you on the show. I'm quite pleased. And I'm sure the audience has taken away very much a lot they can glean from it as well. Now, if anyone wants to get in touch with you, how can they do so?
So I'm inviting everyone to get in touch with me on any kind of social media that is possible. You can find me through my website, elenapawenta.com. You can find me on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, and in many other places all over the internet. So if you're interested in becoming a TEDx speaker or in practicing, in getting better in communication or public speaking, then just reach out and we can talk about it.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for being on the show, Elena. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much, Marcus.
You're welcome. Have yourself a wonderful day.
And now a word from our sponsors. The Lewis Institute provides an enterprise project management program that does more than just train PMs. It helps support them from the CEO level on down. These courses help certify project leaders and prepare them to pass the PMP exam. The Business Agility Institute provides Emergence, the Journal of Business Agility. This quarterly publication brings you inspiring stories from the most innovative companies. Use the promo code ANALYST to get a 10% discount on your annual subscription.